England's Six Nations crisis. Steve Borthwick's Paris gamble as pressure mounts for Steve Borthwick. The closing chapter of this year's Six Nations Championship has become a lesson in how quickly fortunes can change in elite sport. Only weeks ago, the England head coach was speaking with optimism and confidence about his team's trajectory. After 11 consecutive victories in an unbeaten year, Borthwick believed his side had the momentum, belief, and quality required to challenge for the championship. His message was clear. England had the potential to compete with the best teams in Europe and could even travel to Paris with the title within reach. Now, the situation looks dramatically different. Instead of preparing for a title decider against the reigning champions, the England national rugby union team are facing a far more uncomfortable reality, fighting to avoid one of the worst Six Nations campaigns in their history. From title dreams to job security, Borthwick's early season confidence now feels painfully premature. Ahead of the tournament, he had suggested that England fans might want to flood across the channel to Paris for the final game, hinting that the clash with France's national rugby union team could decide the championship. The IT was a bold statement that reflected the confidence inside the England camp. "We want to be in a position in that game to get what we all want to achieve," Borthwick said before the tournament began. At the time, his optimism seemed justified. England had built an impressive winning run and had shown flashes of attacking creativity and defensive resilience. Many observers believed the team was finally beginning to show the identity Borthwick had been trying to establish since taking over the national side. But 6 weeks can be an eternity in international rugby. Instead of competing for the title on the final weekend of the championship, the traditional Super Saturday, England now traveled to Paris with a far more modest objective: avoid losing 4 matches in a single Six Nations campaign. Such a record would be unprecedented for England and could have severe consequences for Borthwick's future as head coach. Mounting criticism, the pressure intensified following England's 3rd consecutive defeat, prompting former England international Hugo Money to raise serious questions about the direction of the team. Speaking on ITV, Money did not hold back when asked whether the discussion about Borthwick's future should begin. "It has to start now." "Of course it does," he said. Money pointed to the improvement of England's rivals as a major concern. Across the Six Nations, teams such as Scotland National Rugby Union Team, Italy National Rugby Union Team, and even struggling Wales National Rugby Union Team appear to be evolving and improving. Meanwhile, England appear to be moving in the opposite direction. "England are on the slide, battling not to win the wooden spoon," Money said. "That's where we're currently at." The comment reflected a growing sentiment among supporters and analysts alike. The potential of England's squad is not being fully realized. According to Money, the issue may not lie with the players themselves, but with the tactical vision guiding them. "It's either the players or the coach," he added. "And I think the potential of the players isn't quite being met by the vision of the head coach at the moment." Echoes of 2018 from many observers. The current crisis feels eerily similar to England's disastrous 2018 campaign. That year, under the leadership of Eddie Jones, England finished 5th in the Six Nations after losing their final 3 matches. Their struggles continued during a summer tour of South Africa, where they dropped the first 2 tests. Despite the poor results, the Rugby Football Union decided to retain Jones, believing that his previous achievements warranted patience. At the time, our few chairman Andy Coslet explained the reasoning behind that decision. Jones had delivered back-to-back Six Nations titles, including a Grand Slam, and had overseen a remarkable run of 18 consecutive Test victories, matching a record among Tier 1 nations. That success earned him the trust of the Union. Borthwick, however, does not enjoy the same level of goodwill. While he has achieved progress since taking over the England job, he lacks the trophy cabinet and historic winning streak that once shielded Jones from criticism. Tactical questions: if England's struggles were solely about results, the situation might be easier to fix. But many critics believe the deeper issue lies in the team's tactical identity. Under Borthwick, England's approach has often appeared predictable. The game plan centers heavily on dominating the set piece and winning aerial contests. While those fundamentals are essential in international rugby, they cannot form the entirety of a team's attacking philosophy. Beyond those areas, England often appears short of ideas. There is little deception in their attacking patterns, limited pace in their transitions, and an absence of the creativity that defines many of the world's leading teams. When England face well-organized opponents, such as Scotland or Ireland national rugby union team, those limitations become painfully clear. Both sides dismantled England within the opening half hour of their respective matches, building commanding leads before England had even scored. Signs of life in Rome to England's credit. Their performance against Italy at the Stadio Olimpico began with signs of improvement. The team started with greater energy and composure than in previous matches. They controlled the early aerial battles and were able to build multiple attacking phases. For the first time since the tournament's opening weekend, England even held the lead, but the optimism did not last long. Once Italy shifted from a defensive mindset to a more proactive approach under coach Gonzalo Quesada, England's structure began to unravel. The Italian side's speed and ambition exposed weaknesses in England's defensive organization and decision-making. What followed was a familiar pattern. England became increasingly disjointed, their attacking shape deteriorated, and their response looked predictable. A stark contrast, the contrast between England and their rivals could not have been clearer. While Scotland stunned France with a fearless and expansive performance built on risk-taking and attacking intent, England's play often resembled a mechanical exercise, where Scotland embraced creativity and spontaneity. England appeared constrained by a rigid framework. Observers have also questioned the role of attack coach Lee Blackett, whose influence seemed significant during the autumn internationals but has been less visible during the Six Nations. The attacking ambition that once offered hope for England's future has seemingly vanished. The tale of two coaches, perhaps the most striking comparison, comes from the fortunes of two coaches whose reputations have followed very different trajectories in recent weeks. Earlier in the season, Borthwick publicly defended Gregor Townsend. When Scotland suffered criticism after a defeat in Rome at 8 the time, Borthwick urged critics to show patience. Now the roles have reversed. That Townsend Scotland have surged into championship contention and remain in the hunt for a triple crown, while Borthwick's England traveled to Paris, simply hoping to avoid humiliation. The emotional contrast between the two camps could hardly be more dramatic. Searching for a solution, history provides one potential blueprint for recovery. During England's crisis in 2018, Jones turned to Danny Cipriani, recalling the maverick fly half to inject creativity into the team. Cipriani's performance helped end England's losing streak and stabilize the squad. Remarkably, just 1 year later, England reached the 2019 Rugby World Cup final, demonstrating how quickly fortunes can change with the right adjustments. Borthwick may be hoping for a similar turning point. But the challenge is clear. He has already made numerous changes to his lineup, including 10 alterations. Before the match in Rome, the squad offers few obvious new options. The question is not simply which players to select, it is how to redefine England's entire approach. The need for a reboot. South Africa's World Cup winning coach Rassie Erasmus once described Borthwick as someone who thinks like a machine. If that characterization is accurate, now may be the moment for a full system reboot. That England's problems are not merely technical, but philosophical. They require a renewed sense of identity, clarity of purpose, and belief in their attacking potential. The Paris test facing France away from home is one of the most daunting challenges in international rugby. The coach who once dreamed of lifting the championship trophy in Paris may instead find himself fighting to keep his job in an international rugby. As history repeatedly shows, the margin between redemption and dismissal can be painfully thin.